Hello and welcome to Happy Handicrafts. My name is Joanna, and today we'll be completing our adorable needle felted sheep that we started in our last video. At this point, we've created our first armature, and now we're going to go on to build on that armature. So very quickly, here are the materials that you're going to need to complete this project. If you've been following along with us in our needle felting series, you're going to have most of them. You'll need some black thread, 2 black beads for the eyes, a sewing needle, undyed wool roving, a small amount of pink and black wool roving, curly locks of wool, your armature, a needle felting needle, and a mat. We're going to start by wrapping some of our undyed wool roving in a figure 8 pattern around the back legs of our armature. Don't do it too tight, but we do want to make sure that this holds the legs together. Use your needle felting needle to felt the ends into place. Then do the same with the front legs. We're then going to wrap the body with our undyed wool roving. Piece by piece, we'll wrap, then felt, then wrap, then felt. This way, we're slowly building up the body into the shape that we want. Make sure to felt all parts of the body, the middle, the front, the back, and about halfway down the legs. When you're finished, it should look something like this. Our next step is to create the tail. Our sheep's tail is a somewhat flat teardrop shape. To achieve this, we take a small amount of undyed wool roving and begin felting it. Don't forget to turn it over to get to the back of it as well. Complete the tail by adding a little more undyed wool roving to make it a little more rounded. Now let's attach our tail to our sheep's behind. Just hold the end of the tail against your sheep and start felting the end of the tail into the back of the sheep. Our next step is to make the head and neck. Take some undyed wool and roll it up as you see Lucy doing. We're then going to felt it into an oval shape with the neck extending down. It's almost like a sock shape, actually. As you're felting it, roll it frequently so that all sides are evenly felted. Again, add more wool as needed until you get the shape and size that you're going for. Just remember that the head is not going to be quite as big as you think because you're eventually going to be adding the curly wool to it, which will significantly increase the size. So next, hold the neck against the body and felt it into place. The next thing we need to make is the ears. Similar to the tail, we're going to felt some undyed wool, making the ends a little pointed. Optionally, you could add a little bit of pink wool to the inner parts of the ear. You're going to make 2 ears, and when finished, they should look like this. Now we're ready to felt them onto our sheep's head. They're going to go on the side of the head. Okay, now we're going to sew on the eyes. You could felt them in, but we like the shiny aspect of the beads, so we're going to sew them on. Don't worry about hiding the black thread or the knot because we're eventually going to be covering it all with the curly wool. Now, I hope you have a little familiarity with sewing. Cut a small amount of black thread, tie a knot at the end, and thread your needle. Insert your needle at the back of the neck and bring it out on the side of the head where you want your eye to be. Slip the first bead onto your needle and reinsert the needle back into the head in almost the same spot from where it emerged. From there, you're going to bring it out on the other side of the head. String the second bead on it and reinsert the needle back into the head very close from where it just emerged. Now pull the needle out at the back of the neck once again. Pull the thread tightly and tie a knot to secure the thread. This is how it should look at this point. Now let's make the nose and mouth. We're going to do this by taking a small amount of black wool and twisting it into a thin thread. Then carefully, we'll felt it onto the sheep's face. If you find that it's too thick, just keep felting it and it will thin out. If it's too thin, just add a little more wool. And if you're not happy with how it turns out, you can always pull it out with your needle and try again. Optionally, you can add a small amount of pink wool to your sheep's nose. And now we're ready to felt in our curly wool. Using small amounts at a time, felt in the wool loosely around the face. Keep going. Apply the curly wool to the body, belly, and legs. Finish up with detailing around the face, ears, and neck. And that's it. How cute is this little sheep? Now you can move it in any position because the legs can be bent in any way you like. Now as you're learning more needle felting skills, you can make more and more creatures and sculptures. In our next video, we're going to be making another adorable creature that requires a more complicated armature. So stick around. We're soon going to be done with our needle felting series, and we'll be moving on to our next handicraft adventure. See you there.